Hello, and thank you for being here today. I'm Mark Famiglio, the president of the board of directors of the Sarasota Film Festival. Welcome to the Sarasota Yacht Club, and I'd like to introduce my wife, Jennie.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm Jennie Famiglio, and I thank you all so much for being here for the Sarasota Film Festival's tribute luncheon and conversation with stage and screen legend Olympia Dukakis. The festival, in its 18th year, recognizes all facets of talent in filmmaking. But today will be extra special because we are not only honoring a brilliant and accomplished actress, but we are also enjoying an intimate conversation with a woman who is widely adored for her charm and her intelligence and her incredible wit. And it's true. It's true. And it is truly what I love so much about this event and some of the conversation events the film festival does, and that is this word conversation. There's an old proverb that says that conversation is food for the soul. And I really believe that's true, and I promise you that today's food will really stimulate and inspire your intellectual and your emotional palate. So speaking of food, we hope you enjoy your meal today. The Sarasota Yacht Club has worked with us to create a very special menu that is a nod to Olympia's Greek ancestry. So we hope you enjoy the spanakopita, the Greek salad, the baklava, and all the other good things. The Sarasota Film Festival is a 10-day festival, as most of you know, and there are still 2.5 days left of the festival. For those of you interested in continuing the celebration of film and filmmakers, we are doing a raffle. And I don't know if you've been able to buy your raffle tickets, but we are raffling off tickets to this weekend's highlight films, as well as 4 tickets to tonight's Cinema Tropical celebration at Michael's on East. It is actually rebranded this year to be called Cinema Political in the spirit of the election year, but it'll be the same great food and the same great party at Michael's on East. So if you miss the opportunity to buy raffle tickets, there will be people from the festival staff walking around selling tickets, so buy 1 or 10, and we'll see if we can pull the winning ticket at the end. There are several spotlight sponsors who have made this event possible. A great thank you to Scene Magazine, WSNN, J. Thor Productions, thank you, Reserve Vintage Rentals, and Victoria Blooms, who provided these wonderful centerpieces. Also, thank you to the Sarasota Yacht Club and their wonderful staff for hosting us today, and thank you to Regal Cinemas and to the Amicus Foundation and to everybody on the Sarasota Film Festival board and staff who worked so hard this 10 days and in the months beforehand to make this a really great festival. So now I am pleased to introduce Kathy Leone, the morning news anchor for SNN, which, as I just said, has been a wonderful and faithful sponsor. So, Kathy?
Well, thank you so much. I'm honored today to speak on behalf of SNN, the Suncoast News Network. I've been there since 2003 now and can truly say we are a local news station, and proud of it. We live in this community, we work in this community, we care about this community, and most importantly, we work with this community. And we love to support events that empower our community, like the Sarasota Film Festival. SNN started as a 24-hour cable station in 1995, and this festival in 1999. And I can remember thinking, how is this non-French thing going to actually work? But of course, we have evolved into a multimedia platform, and so has this wonderful event evolved. It is so wonderful. It not only helps shine a national spotlight on the Suncoast, but it also generates buzz, it generates interest, and infuses dollars into arts education and the community, all while introducing us to some truly wonderful people. And it really gives those who take advantage of it a chance to have a truly intimate experience, like this one with wonderful people like Olympia Dukakis. And I first discovered her for myself during Moonstruck, about the same time I was getting ready to go to Boston University, an alma mater I think we share, and also while getting ready to vote for the first time, so I really made a connection with the Dukakis name. But what I discovered after that was that the Oscar-winning role merely scratched the surface of this actor, director, producer, teacher, activist, and best-selling author. She'd been working for quite a while by then, and what I love more than anything is that she became that household name, that sought-after film actress in her 50s. And that's what I love about life, strong women and role models, the Sarasota Film Festival, and SNN. The best is yet to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy, and thank you, SNN. Now I am very honored to introduce a very special woman and a very special friend, Regina Weinreich. A culture critic, producer, director, writer, and scholar on the Beat generation, including some of my favorites from college, like Jack Kerouac and William Burroughs. Regina has contributed to numerous publications, including the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Paris Review, Entertainment Weekly, and the Huffington Post. She is a professor in the Humanities and Sciences Department at the School of Visual Arts in New York, and we are very fortunate to have her here. She's been here the past 4 years, in fact. We're very fortunate to have her here to moderate our conversation today. Thank you, Regina.
Not yet. Olympia, before we ask you to come up here on stage, we're going to show a wonderful montage of your work. So.
There isn't any room at the top for local girls like us.
I'm not giving up.
To the green room! She has a life force, like one of those spaceships that has this battery that takes you out to the stars. You can see it when you're in the room with her. You can see it in her work.
$1 for that dress and don't even bother to wear a girdle.
Looks like two pigs fighting under a blanket.
Olympia is a legend and an incredible person. I mean, I don't mean to embarrass you, but I mean, look, you know it. Let's be honest.
The sun is about 1 inch above the horizon, changing color.
What shapes are the clouds?
There's a donkey carrying 2 nuns and a beagle. Sometimes you just have to make the decision to be happy. Just decide. Things aren't ever what you hoped they'd be. Not ever. For anybody. The only thing that separates one kind of person from another is there are some who stay angry about it, and there are some who accept what comes their way.
Which kind of person are you?
I was pretty mad about it. But now, looking at what came my way, I think I could be the other kind of person. Quite the philosopher, huh? Have I been a good wife?
Yeah.
I want you to stop seeing her.
Okay.
And go to confession.
A man understands one day that his life is built on nothing. And that's a bad, crazy day.
Your life is not built on nothing. Ti amo.
Anch'io ti amo.
I just want to expose us to a little more culture. And that's not easy to come by in this neck of the woods. Hey, Weezer, how about taking a theater trip to New York?
I don't want to expose myself to anything.
You should broaden your horizons.
You broaden your horizons your way, and I will broaden my horizons mine.
I'm going to support the arts in this area.
I'll write a check. I support art. I just don't have to see it.
It wouldn't hail if you...
Clary, can I get one thing straight with you? I do not see plays because I can nap at home for free. And I don't see movies because they're trash. And they got nothing but naked people in them. And I don't read books because if they're any good, they're going to make them into a miniseries.
You know, you would be a much more contented, pleasant person if you would find ways to occupy your time.
One of the things that makes me happy and alive is work.
What are you afraid of doing? Something wrong? You're in a basement on Clinton Street.
You got a love bite on your neck. He's coming back this morning. What's the matter with you? Your life's going down the toilet. Cover up that damn thing. Come on, put some makeup on.
All right. Oh, okay, fine. You're gonna help me.
Hurry up.
Oh my God. You get it.
Answer the door.
Mother?
Olympia Dukakis in Moonstruck.
Olympia Dukakis in Moonstruck.
Well, I'm very honored.
Moonstruck was the first one. It's like somebody said, look, she waited all these years. Let's give her something good. And it was incredible. And then that changed my whole life. My daughter was going to college on credit cards when I did that movie, you know. And after that, we were able to send our children to college with no problems. Now, what were we talking about?
Good afternoon. My name is Carol Poteet Buchanan, and I'm past president of the U.S. National Committee for UN Women. The U.S. National Committee for UN Women is one of 16 national committees around the world working to end violence against women and to generate awareness and financial support for UN Women's programs aimed at gender equity and empowerment of women. For the past 7 years, the Gulf Coast chapter of the U.S. National Committee's International Film Festival, Through Women's Eyes, which focuses on films written, directed, produced, and or about women's issues, has enjoyed a great partnership with the Sarasota Film Festival. And in collaboration with the Sarasota Film Festival, we have had the privilege of presenting the Impact Award to incredible female artists who have worked to make a difference in the lives of women through their work in the field and through the arts. Olympia Dukakis has made a difference not only on stage and screen through the roles she has chosen, but also in her personal life. She has played tough, unforgettable female roles in such movies as Cloudburst, Steel Magnolias, and Moonstruck, where, of course, we just saw she won the Academy Award. But as a social activist, Ms. Dukakis has been outspoken on a number of issues, including urging higher wages and more attractive benefits for home health care workers who are predominantly women, lifting these workers out of poverty and giving their families the chance to develop and grow professionally. She was a panelist in a group of diverse artists who discussed creative ways of conveying the universal lessons of the Holocaust through the powerful medium of the Arts at the United Nations headquarters in New York. Her autobiography, Ask Me Again Tomorrow, A Life in Progress, is an introspective chronicle full of her trademark candor and wry humor. She is one of 43 women contributing to the anthology Goddess Shift, Women Leading for a Change. And Goddess Shift describes the shape of the new human family that is emerging from the leadership of these remarkable women and the very different future they envision for the world we share. The royalties from this book are going to 3 nonprofit organizations dedicated to improving the lives of girls and young women around the world, a goal that UN Women works toward every day. Ms. Dukakis has said, "I just focus on the things I want, and I don't waste too much energy on things that aren't useful or relevant. I'm not saying I'm always right, but for the most part, I am." Well, we, her fans, think she is right on. And ladies and gentlemen, I have to interrupt her lunch, but on behalf of the Sarasota Film Festival and through Women's Eyes, it is my honor to present to Olympia Dukakis the 2016 Impact Award. Come up.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I tell you, this is wonderful. These 2 women are very close to the size of my mother. Who was a little Greek lady. And I love it. I love when they come up, I instantly get choked up. Just the height of it does it for me. It's so great.
Yeah, they say that the next generation gets to be a little taller, but it didn't work for me.
What, are you the first generation over here?
No, I was born in Germany.
Oh, see.
Yeah, that's why it happened, I guess. But my mother towered over me at 5'3".
My mother was not even 5 feet tall. She kept saying she was. She kept saying she was 5'1", but she wasn't. She never made it to 5.
You know, it's the only thing I lie about.
Okay, now do you? They told me I was sitting here.
Okay.
I have no preference.
Well, then have a seat. I'm so thrilled to be here talking to you, and now that I know you, I remind you of your mother, it's even better. And I want to thank everybody here for inviting me. I was very, very much struck by the fact that you come from Lowell, Massachusetts. Now, in my other life, I'm a Kerouac scholar. I've written several books about him. I've been to Lowell, Massachusetts. So I want to know what's in the water there to nurture talented people. And
Betty Davis was there as well.
Really?
Yeah,
okay,
Betty
that may
Davis.
be more of an inspiration. But how did Lowell influence you?
How did Lowell influence me? Well, Lowell, when I was there, this is during the Depression, it was a textile town. And our parents, it was many different ethnic groups. And our parents fought in the mills and we fought on the streets. It was quite a situation. By the time I was
think it was 8 years old, I was very handy on the streets. I look back and I think of all that happened. And who did we fight? We fought the Irish. Well, everyone in Massachusetts fought the Irish, I think. But now I can't even hear Irish music and I cry. It's like I have such a connection to the Irish, and one of my good friends is Brenda Fricker. And so there we were in the streets fighting the Irish, the Germans, Syrians. There were a lot of Syrians in our particular neighborhood, and I had a fight with one kid, and I came down on his back as hard as I could. He was lying on his sled. I don't know what he did to me or whatever. I can't even remember that. But I remember hitting him. And then, of course, I got terrified. I'd go home, and my mother, I went and I hid in the bathroom. And I was right, because his mother came to the door, and your daughter did this, and your daughter did that. And then my mother said, listen to this. I don't interfere with what my daughter does on the street. Can you believe that? That's what she said. In other words, you're on your own out there, Olympia. That was really clear. You know, I was very grateful at the time that she didn't do anything. But these are my memories of Lowell, running out from school, hiding so I wouldn't get beaten up, and this, that, and the other thing. And
well, what was the path?
That isn't what you expected, I know, well, but there it is.
Well, you know, okay, so you were a street kid, but does that prepare you for a life in theater, film, in the arts?
I don't know what prepares you for a life in the theater. I guess it does. I had to learn not to, in the theater, not to pick up, you know. I mean, I was very close to, if somebody did something to me, I was like right there. And I had to learn not to be that way. Because in the theater, you know, you have to work with other people. And I was fortunate when I was in college, a group of us there, there's one of the actresses and directors here today, Roz Faber, and we started a theater, and I guess fighting in the streets was good. I fought, we all fought. Everybody had their own backgrounds, and so I was willing to, you know, come down hard on somebody's back like I did with that kid. So I suppose that was helpful to me. I didn't shy away from any of that. And then it translated into trying to raise money, being feisty about that. And I started another company after that called the Whole Theater in New Jersey. That went for about 20 years. And
some of you know it.
So that kind of feistiness has been part of my life, and I guess I have Lowell to thank for it. You know.
Well, you've done theater, you've done film. We saw mostly films in the clip, but what do you prefer one to the other?
No. They're very different. Mm-hmm. And you use yourself in very different ways, and I like them both. There's much more intimacy in movies and television. The theater is, you know, you're in a big space in a theater. And the other thing is that in theater, the audience is there. It's alive. It's happening right as you're living it. And in the movies, you know, you do it over and over again in different ways, and you can correct it. And then the director takes it and moves into the studio with it and cuts it and puts pieces together and stuff and alters it even more. I mean, it's less your work. Mm-hmm. But in the theater, every night you get up there and you make it happen with the other actors.
Well, if you were offered something right this minute, what would you want to be doing? Would it
What
be
would I want to be doing? Well, you know what I really want to do now? I really want to continue teaching the Greeks and Chekhov. I've shaped a way of working with American actors on these two writers that I love. And well, the Greeks are not just one writer, but I really enjoy walking into the room with a group of actors and going through the process of discovering of the play and discovering where an actor needs to go in his technique in acting to do those plays.
Mm-hmm.
So that has become, that kind of discovery and that kind of inquiry has really captured my imagination. Mostly in terms of theatrical stuff, I don't know. I don't want to do 8 a week anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too tiring and too debilitating. But I do a one-woman show called Rose that I did at the National, London, and in New York, and I travel around the country. And I think I did it here at Oslo, actually, a bunch of years ago. And I love doing that. It's Rose, it's called, by Martin Sherman. So I enjoy that. But the 8 a week, it's over. What's that wonderful line in that movie? It's over. Remember the guy screaming, it's over, it's over.
Well, I saw you in Milk Train Doesn't Stop Here Anymore.
Oh, yes.
You were so fabulous in
Oh,
that.
that's a good show.
Tennessee Williams wrote that for you.
At the Roundabout.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I wondered, if a role like that came along, would you take it?
The what?
If a role like that came around at this time, would you take it?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Would you do Tennessee Williams again?
Oh, yes, of course I do it. I just won't do it 8 times a week.
Right.
Yeah, but that was a good show.
Yeah, that was a good show.
That was a good show. We had, yeah.
Yeah. In case you don't know what it's about.
That was just a couple of years ago.
Yes, it was. And, it was just such a perfect Tennessee Williams woman who is kind of, let's just say she's full of hope for a love coming around the corner at any moment.
Tennessee Williams's characters don't give up on passion. They want passion in their lives, and she was not going to die. Everybody kept trying to tell her she was like 90 in her 90s, and so.
Did you ever meet Tennessee?
The what?
Did you ever meet him?
I did. I came very close to doing Rose Tattoo in New York, and his producer, whose name I forget now, introduced me to him, and we talked about doing Rose Tattoo. And then Maureen Stapleton, who had originated the part, came back from a clinic. She'd been at a clinic. I think she was drinking a little too much and something. She came back, and while I was there, talk about drama.
Oh, boy.
In the apartment, and he was saying to me, oh, I know you'll bring this to it, I can see what you'll do, that, blah, blah, blah. The phone rings, he goes, he comes back, he's ashen. It's Maureen. She heard that we were doing Rose Tattoo, and she wants to play the part.
Wow. So,
and I knew. I said, well, that's it, because they were such good friends. He was not going to betray her.
Yeah.
So that I was out. But I didn't feel badly. I thought, well, she should be the one that plays it.
Right.
She should be the one.
Well, a lot's been made of this idea that your life changed after Moonstruck. So I want to know what it was like before Moonstruck, and then how you got to be cast in that, and the rest is history.
Before Moonstruck, I was running the whole theater in New Jersey. I was teaching at NYU. I was doing every piece of TV, movie that I could get my hands on. My husband had been in a terrible accident, and for 5 years he didn't work, and we had 3 children. So I'm like, you can imagine. And that's what I was doing. I was hustling. And then the whole thing happened with Moonstruck, and my daughter was going to college on credit cards, as you saw in the...
Right, right.
And now I actually got jobs and that paid good money. And so she can... So that's what it looked like. It was like not a pretty picture, but I was doing many things that I really loved: the theater, the teaching, the driving my sons to hockey games and lacrosse games and things like that.
Well, John Patrick Shanley, who wrote Moonstruck, he's such a precise writer. I wonder, did you follow his script entirely, or did you improvise in any way?
With Jewison, you don't improvise.
Okay.
Jewison knows every cut he's going to do. He knows everything. There was like, and it was very set up. He didn't do a lot of shooting, and then he was going to decide later. He knew what he wanted, and he went in precisely. So the shoot was not excessive and tiring or anything like that. So nobody improvised, nobody did the script. And you went where he wanted you to go. But he never talked to you about the acting. I said once, I said, I really would like, because I realized that this was a very knowledgeable man. And I said, I'd love to talk to you about acting. She said, acting? You want to talk about acting? Oh, please. And he just walked away. I mean, it was really something. It was like, yeah, it was really, he was terrific.
Well, when you get guidance like that, how do you respond to guidance like that?
What you do is you just trust yourself.
Yeah.
He thought that it wasn't really that I wasn't trusting myself. It's that I wanted to know the things that mattered to him so I could understand his work. I mean, I'm only sorry I wasn't able to do something else with him. We ran around the country doing a lot of benefits and stuff after that. And he said to me at one point, you're going to get an Academy Award for this. And only out of respect, I didn't say you're an idiot. I mean, I thought, this is ridiculous. I'm going to get an Academy Award for playing Rose? I don't think so. And so then it turned out that he was right.
Well, how did you get along with Cher?
Oh, well, Cher was not difficult to get involved with. She was a very kind person and very sincere and caring about the people around her and wanting people to be happy. And if she heard anything was wrong, she was instantly there and stuff like that. So I got along well with her. I admired her. I admired the way in which she handled herself. I thought it was terrific.
Did you, at the time, know that it was going to be such a big deal, this movie?
That it was what?
That it was going to be such a big deal.
Oh, of course not. We were up in, we did the outside work on the streets of Brooklyn. Anything on the street was in Brooklyn, and anything indoors was in a studio that Norman had pulled together in Toronto. So we were up in Toronto. So you walk up to the house, you're in New York. You open the door and go into the house, you're in Toronto. That's the way that one worked.
It's pretty great. Well, you've also worked with some outstanding women, I'd say a dream cast in Steel Magnolias. In Steel Magnolias, it was a dream cast, I think. And some of the greatest women actors of that time, I would say.
Well, who are you referring to?
Well, Yourself, of course.
Of course.
Of course. But you know, you don't want to be like the worst one in an ensemble of, or the best one in an ensemble of people who nobody knows. I mean, you had Sally Field, you had Julia Roberts.
Well, that was her first major picture. She had done Mystic River before that, but this one, and Shirley MacLaine was the piece of work. That was, she was really great.
Well,
yeah.
Goes without saying.
She was really something. Yeah, we got to be really good friends, but that's only after, you know, well, I've said it before. It's like she tends to want to protect herself and to make sure that she is in control of things and this like that, no matter what she needs to do. So there were ways in which she was behaving in that long scene, you know, in the cemetery when we were all crying and stuff, and everybody could see it. It was, and she knew it was because it was my big scene, and so even the hair lady said, "You can't let her treat you that way. You've got to fight her." I said, no, I'm not going to fight her. She says, "You've got to stand up to her." I said, no, I'm not going to stand up to her. Why won't you do it? I said, because that's when she wins. She's not winning with me. I learned how to win in the streets of Lowell. I figured that one out a long time ago. That you don't necessarily win by, you know, fighting. There are other ways to do things. I finally learned that one. And she doesn't know that no matter what way she stops, I got a million of them right up over here. Because of all the stage work I had done, it was very difficult. And it was after that she came over to me and started to talk, because she expected that I would fight her, and I didn't. And we became very good friends. Really good friends.
To this day?
I went to see her in Vegas when she did her act, and she came to see me in shows in New York, and yeah. And I've said there's stories about her several times, and I'm sure they've gotten back to her, but it doesn't bother her. She doesn't. Those things.
Has she gotten into your past lives with you?
She did, but she knew that I didn't. I mean, I respect anybody's views. That you know, that's the way they understand things and know things, and that's okay. But that doesn't mean I have to share them, and doesn't mean I have to listen to them. You know? It's just me. That's what she felt, and that's what she did, and I understood that it was important to her. I could see that this was important to her, because she had a lot of very difficult things happen to her that she needed to process and needed to come out the other end with. I mean, I began to learn more about her. And, I mean, people don't know, when you think about her personal life, how much do you know about her personal life? It's very little.
That's true.
Very little.
Huh. Well, I guess we're not going to delve into that. We'll delve into your personal life. You've been married to the same guy for a really long time.
Yeah. That's true. It does get boring sometimes. You're right.
I would say, tell me about it, but my husband's in the room.
Oh, okay.
But you've also worked with your husband.
Oh, quite a bit. He was. We worked at Williamstown, which is a summer theater in Massachusetts, very well known.
Yes.
Theater, and we did wonderful plays together. And then at the whole theater, we worked together. We did that, and we never did anything in Nueva Yorka, but yeah.
Well, I read somewhere that you worked on Long Day's Journey.
Oh yes, we did that about 3 times. We did it at Williamstown, we did it at Princeton. There's a wonderful regional theater in Princeton. Mm-hmm. And then we did it at our theater, the whole theater. 3 times. Yeah, it was. My brother directed it the last time.
Your brother Apollo.
Apollo, right? Apollo and Olympia.
I think that's great.
Playmates of the gods. I think that's what a therapist once said to me. He said, "No wonder you have problems, Apollo and Olympia. You were named to be playmates of the gods."
But Sally Field said that you, in Steel Magnolias, you were the Mother Earth.
Did she?
She did say that.
Well,
and that to me is kind of Greek.
It takes one to know one, I'll tell you. She's quite
right.
Yeah.
So maybe that explains also why you're so attracted to the Greek myths at this stage.
Yeah, I wasn't when I was younger. It's interesting, but I became that way. I've done a number of Greek plays in New York. I did Electra. Well, I've done Electra 3 times, and I've done different parts. When I was younger, I played one, and now older, I played Clytemnestra and the chorus. I had a wonderful version that had only one person be the chorus, so that was great. And then I did a lot of them. I did Clytemnestra and Aeschylus as Agamemnon a bunch of times, and things like that. And I mean, I didn't think of it as, oh, well, this is I'm Greek and stuff. Excuse me. I just thought these are very interesting plays, and because the ancient Greeks are not necessarily like the contemporary Greeks. So, at any rate, so I did, yeah.
But you know, you were also in Woody Allen's attempt to make a Greek play, Mighty
yes.
Aphrodite. How was that to
Yeah,
work with him?
That wasn't a lot of fun.
No? Oh.
I did it because they told me if I did it, they would bring my husband over to Sicily, and they'd pay for us to spend a couple of weeks there and stuff. And I thought, oh, that would be fun to go with Louis to Sicily.
Yeah.
I've never, which was actually, started by the Greeks. I mean, I say that to all Italians.
I'm sure they love that.
All of them down in the south there were Greeks.
They showed the clip just now of you in Away from Her, and there you are.
Oh, yes.
In bed with this gorgeous guy.
What?
Yes. You didn't notice?
No. He died?
No, he's a gorgeous guy. You were
wait a second. What are you saying?
You were in bed with a gorgeous guy in this movie.
Yeah.
And in the clip that they showed. And I just wondered how the director, I believe, was Sarah Polly.
Yeah, wonderful.
Wonderful.
Something of a genius, that woman.
Yeah, I think
Something
she
of
is.
a genius. Did you see that last movie she did?
Yes.
About her father and everything?
Yeah.
That was extraordinary.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was really amazing how much she learned about her own identity in that movie, making that movie. Anyway, you should see it. But how did you work with her in the movie Away from Her? What was it like working with her?
She was a terrific. She was a very incredibly talented woman, and the very few things that she's said or wanted that I wasn't eager to do. She's very funny. We would have a session every day where we would just be laughing for no reason at all, and so that was fun. That's what I remember of these absolutely stupid, unreasonable laughing fests that we had with each other, and I just admired her so much. I had worked with her as an actress in a film by Tom Fitzgerald, who was a wonderful Canadian director, and that's when I first met her. And she acted in that. She didn't, and then she began to do her own script, and then it's like Away from Her was a fabulous film.
Yeah.
Yeah, fabulous film.
The reason I was so interested in that too was because of the whole discussion that everyone is having about diversity among directors. And I love the fact that here in Sarasota there's a program for women filmmakers, and I think it's just thriving. And I wondered what you thought about the working with women and the whole controversy over women, the paucity of women directors in Hollywood.
There are not enough of them, is that what you mean?
Truly.
Catherine Bigelow is, and she's still not accepted. I mean, she still doesn't have the status that she should have. Yeah, it's a big problem. Not necessarily in Hollywood, but throughout this country and the planet. Women, and especially now with the ISIS and everything, there are women in many parts of the world are being really brutally dealt with. It's so anything we can do to be of help. Yeah.
Well, that's sort of...
It's not a happy story. I mean, it's terrible, actually.
Yeah, well, and there's also that whole controversy over diversity in Hollywood and lack of people of color and Latinos.
Yeah, you can
etc.
pick your cause. You can pick them.
Yeah. So I don't know whether you take a stand on any of that or take issue with Hollywood for any of these hot button topics.
What I should do?
Well, do you think about it?
Yes, well, I mean, people ask me about them, of course, and ask me to put my name forward on this and that and the other thing, and that's what I do. When I was younger, I was out in the streets in New York with all of the efforts earlier in the 80s and 70s. But women don't hit the streets anymore.
I guess not. Well, I was also thinking about when you won your Oscar, they didn't show the part of the clip where you raised your Oscar in your hand and said, "Let's go, Michael."
Right.
Because your cousin was running for president in those years.
Right,
Yes.
at the time.
What was that like for your family?
For the family? Well, some people in the family did not want to be approached and whatever. But I did. I was talking about Lowell. I wanted him to win. But
I
he
think
was.
Many of us did.
He was not. Michael. At the time, there were lots of things that came out. The information that we had that Michael refused to act on. He kept insisting that the American people did not want their politics to be that way. I guess if you live long enough, you'll see it all. That's what's going to happen. But he did not want to. And I actually went to him with a piece of information that one of the security guards had given to me, and they said, "We want Michael to have this," and blah, blah, blah. And I went to him, and he said, no, Olympia. He said, the American people don't want their president to behave that way.
Those are words that should actually reflect on our current situation. Anyway, I'm going to open it up to the audience. I'm sure there are wonderful questions from so many people out here. So we'll start with you.
Have you got a mic for her?
Welcome. I love the movie The Cemetery Club. You were in it with Ellen Burstyn and Diane Ladd. Could you tell us a little bit about that? That is one of my favorite plays and movies.
That was a film with Diane Ladd and
Ellen Burstyn.
Yeah. That was, and the director was an ex-student of mine from at the time when I was teaching at NYU. I can't remember his name, unfortunately. It's like that's what goes. Names go. I can't names them. It was not a happy set. That's what I remember about it. Well, because Diane and what's her name?
Ellen.
Yeah, Ellen Burstyn did not get on well. Whoa. I just remembered something hysterical. Diane was convinced that she, Ellen, had communications with dark forces. So she one morning she wakes up and she comes to me and she says, I had a dream last night. I saw the devil. I said, yes. And she says, and when the devil turned around, it was her face. She was like, it was hysterical. I mean, other people heard it, so it's not as if it's like exclusive stuff. But that's what was going on. And the negative thing, they had been in a movie called Alice's Restaurant together. Do you remember that one? And I think Diane felt a little beaten up from that movie. But, you know, but I'm like, movies to me were like a foreign country at that when I first started. I couldn't get over that these people had such strong feelings about things in the movies, you know. It didn't, because they had so little control over it. Except the big names, everybody else didn't have any control over it. The director had all total control over how the movie is made, what decisions are happening. They didn't just ask me what take I wanted. You know, it was like, so I didn't have the same feeling about movies. And, you know, and then, of course, as time went on, I got cleverer. I figured out how to do what I wanted to do without having confrontations. You know, you figure it out how to do that and stuff. Because it's... Yeah, this little talk has a theme, doesn't it? It goes all the way back to Lowell and how I deal with that, how I deal with all these adversities and these people. And I've just gotten very sneaky. I don't go around punching people anymore. I just very sneaky.
Any other questions?
I was lucky enough to grow up in Toronto, and I was a very good friend of Leah Pinson. And you worked with Gordon Pinson in that movie. Was that?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you were saying.
I was lucky enough to grow up in Toronto.
You were lucky enough to
grow up in Toronto.
To grow up in Toronto, okay.
Yes. And I was a good friend of Leah Pinson, Gordon Pinson's daughter. And I saw that you worked with him in that movie.
Gordon who? Oh, yes, Gordon, of course.
Yes, and it's funny because here people don't know who Gordon Pinson is. But in
guess.
Toronto, he's just huge.
Of course.
Yes, and
he's a national hero. What are you talking about?
And I wondered, were you asked to be in the documentary?
No.
Him? Oh, you were not. Okay.
Did I meet you and your mother at the party after the movie?
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. I remember that.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's when something happened and he fainted?
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, he was having a difficult time.
Another piece of little
Isn't he
drama.
a wonderful man?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. How is your mother?
Very good.
Good. Good. All right.
Well, it's really nice to meet you.
All right. Nice to see you again. Yeah.
Hi, thank you for being here for everybody. I
I guess I wanted to first say that you're just an amazing lady. And we're sitting back here at our table and just talking about how beautiful you look, how witty you are, how funny and strong, and you're just such a great inspiration for us. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
I have 3 sisters, and we talk a lot about life and just, you go through so many good and bad experiences in your life. And you're so interesting, and you've been through so many experiences. Would you be willing to share some of your life's philosophies based on what you've learned over the years?
What your life's philosophies?
My life.
Or just lessons and...
I can't...
That would be a no.
I'm thinking, things are going through my head like, first take care of your family. That was the first thing that went through my head. That's my philosophy. First to deal with my family and stuff. I try not to do things I don't want to do. I try to do only the things I really believe in and want to do. I can't say that I always do that. I've done things for money. I've done things for what you might call attention. People to notice that. I try to live as close to myself as I can, but I'm not always succeeded in being able to do that. And I guess my family comes first. That's it. That's the thing. Thank you.
So Olympia, Costa Molasses here from Scene Magazine. Thank you for being here, number one, in this beautiful setting and sharing your heart with us.
You're a little too close to the mic.
I'm too close. Too close. Gus Molasses, Scene Magazine. Thank you, Evharisto, for being here today. How'd you like the Greek food, by the way? It was pretty good, huh?
Signomi?
The Greek food was pretty good, huh? Other than my mom coming in.
I didn't get a chance to eat much of it.
We'll get you a takeout bag.
I had the
Spanakopita?
Spanakopita.
It's pretty
there
good.
wasn't enough spinach, too much phyllo.
That's all right. I'll have my mom send some over the airwaves. I want to ask you a 2-part question, which is heroes growing up in Hollywood, actors who you wanted to make you go into the business, and what's your advice to actors or actresses out there getting into the business? What's your advice?
If there's one thing you can do well, do that before you decide to become an actor. That's what I would do.
Hi, my name is Kim Blacklock, and I'm from New York State. I'm about 53 miles north of New York City, in Putnam Valley. Where do you live now?
I live in New York City. How would I like to do?
Liz Estrada.
Why would I want to do Liz Estrada? I did a production of Liz Estrada in fairly recently at the Getty Museum in Los Angeles.
And did you like the experience of it?
Well, it was written by Eduardo Machado, a Cuban who was very, very interesting because I'm basically much too old for the part. But he rewrote it and rearranged it, and it was interesting because I ended up in the end of the play in a box because they're shutting her up. They're putting her in a box. and I'm mumbling, blah, 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 and I'm talking in there, and the lights are going out. And that's so much for women's political voice, is what he's saying.
If you had your dream project right now, then what would you like to take on?
What would I like to take on? Well, as I say, I'm doing a regular play for any length of time is not part of my physical ability, nor is it something I yearn for the way I used to. I don't have that feeling. But I would do a stage reading of something, something like that, something that's not so demanding in terms of time and endurance and stuff.
I'll come see you in New York.
Okay, all right, thank you, thank you.
Regina, I think we're, in the interest of time, we're going to close the questions.
So, yeah, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, Olympia, for talking to me. And I just loved it. And till the next.
Thank you all. Thank you all for inviting me. Thank you.